Lap number 3 on the season here in the cNASCAR Chris Cup Series. Tonight it is the Chriszoil 200 live from Las Vegas Motor Speedway in Las Vegas, Nevada. Good evening, friends, and welcome to Carlos Zimmerman. Alongside me, my broadcast partner this evening, Logan Brakey. Logan, it's a pleasure to have you back in here, and we're hoping for a good one tonight after last week at Auto Club, but tonight we're at Vegas.
Yeah, absolutely. Always a pleasure to be up here with you, Carlos. And we're back here at another fast speedway, a little bit shorter this time around, only about 1.5 miles around this speedway, but look for it to be super tight, super packy all the way around here this afternoon. Really tight spread in qualifying, so a lot of fast times put up on the board. We're going to be in for a thriller here this afternoon.
Chris Bass was the fastest in qualifying. He's able to find himself on the pole. He'll have last week's, I thought he was going to have last week's winner, Christopher Tate, to his outside. Not sure. Hang on. I might have some reordering issues to work with in here. But either way, regardless, Christopher Tate was your winner last week at Auto Club. Utterly dominated. He won the race by about 4 seconds. So Logan, do we expect to see the same thing out of him tonight?
Yeah, I mean, he's had speed all throughout the season. Obviously, Daytona's a little bit of it's a tough marker to really show kind of who's got speed throughout, who's going to have speed throughout the season. Obviously, the second race of the season is kind of usually the race you look to see who's quick, maybe who's a little struggling to find some speed. I think our top three, they all showed what kind of speed they have. Chris Scott, Chris Bass, and Chris Tate, as you mentioned. They all showed some pretty good pace last week at Auto Club, and obviously they're kicking things off right where they left off this week here at Vegas. So, I could see them, running up at the front. Chris Bass, he's going to want to rebound from the finish he had last week. He ran so well in the first half of the race, and then just kind of he got into the wall a little bit off 4, and that kind of killed his momentum for the second half of the race. So, look for him to rebound strong here.
As the cars roll off, we'll give you your starting lineup. Actually, we're going to update the starting lineup here. Chris Scott finds himself on the pole here. Chris Bass will be to his outside in second. Oh, sorry, hit the wrong button there. Rolling off third will be Christopher Tate, last week's winner, and Chris No will be to his outside. Lining up in row number 3, Chris Leach and Chris Stamper in 5th and 6th. 7th and 8th is Chris Jones and Christopher Solm, respectively, and then rounding out the top 10 is Chris Edwards and Chris Daniels, as you'll cycle through the rest of the starting lineup here. Logan, after 2 weeks of good racing, Adam Tevis winning it at Daytona and Christopher Tate winning last week at Auto Club, who's got the edge tonight here at a track like Las Vegas?
Well, I mean, I think, again, I got to go back to say our guys that ran well last week, I think, have the edge here tonight. The tracks run similar in terms of speed. Not a lot of off-throttle time here, just like there was last week. It's a pretty wide-open speedway around here with this package, and maybe later into the run we'll see some guys near the back show their stuff. But I keep your eye on the guys that are starting up here in the top 5 to pick up where they left off last week.
Absolutely. It's going to be a lot of good action here tonight. We'll be running here in Sin City. Pace car pulls down. Chris Scott will lead the pack to the green flag here to open the race, as here they go. Scott's on the gas. Green flag in the air. We're racing in Vegas. An excellent start for Chris Scott there. He's going to bring along Chris, as it looks like Chris Bass did not get as good of a jump at 2.
Yeah, there's a little bit of, maybe wasn't perhaps waiting for him to wait till the green flag there, as you can see guys getting pretty racy back in the pack there. Chris Luke Daniels had a fantastic start. Got a little bit of contact back there in 3 and 4. Everybody's going to save it. Whoa, got 1 in the wall, 2 on around. Everybody wrecking off of turn number 4. They're going to pile it up here in the tri-oval.
Big accident already here. Massive accident. 72 involved. That's, trying to find his name here, Chris Edwards. He's involved. A lot of damage to the 71 of Christopher Landy. The 5 now getting turned around there. That is Chris Hubka, who's getting spun there on the front straightaway. The 17 of Chris Noblet looks to be involved. Chris Clifford Corriveau, he's involved as well. Big wreck on the exit of 4.
A lot of guys taken out really early in this race. And remember, Carlos, we had a faster pair last week as it is classified as a super speedway. Not the case today. There are no faster pairs. So all the guys you saw involved in that, the damage that they have is the damage they've got to race with this afternoon now.
Chris Steven Scallick, he finds himself in pit lane right now trying to see Christian Shepard. He's blowing up. His night effectively done. Christopher Landy, he's blowing up further up. We're going to go ahead and take a look back and see what happened to bring out our first caution of the evening. It looked like it just happened outside the top 5, Logan.
Yeah, so it was a matter of really two separate incidents happening at once. The one I was focusing on was the 48 of Chris Leach got sideways off of 4, which does happen here on new tires. Turn 4 is very, very slippery on new tires. And he got a little sideways there and kind of checked up the guys behind him. And the 2 shot wide off of 4 and pounded the outside wall, and that left nowhere for the 72 to go. And Chris Edwards, but then further behind them, the 27 and the 12 had a little bit of a run-in. Same situation. The 27 got loose on the top and came down into the 12. 2 separate incidents happening at the same time, and the whole field just stacked right up.
You saw it on the back corner of your screen. We'll go ahead and we'll look back at what happened with the 27 of Christopher Some. You saw the 2 just get turned off the nose of somebody. But unfortunate thing for the 24 and the 72, similar paint schemes, and they both found themselves in this accident. It's just a big mess to open up the race.
It's just, yeah. I mean, it's really unfortunate. You hate to see something like this as a fan. You love to see it, but when you're you've been in these drivers' shoes before, and it's just so aggravating that this would happen on lap 1. They haven't even made it a lap yet when this happens. So. Really unfortunate for a lot of these guys who never really got to show what kind of speed they were bringing here.
Chris Noblet, he got tagged from behind by somebody, and that's what 7 around, and just a chain reaction. I saw about 3 cars blowing up, so their night's effectively finished. But, yeah, that is why we are under our first caution of the evening. Very early torn up cars who were definitely looking at possibly having a great run tonight.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate. So now they'll have to, get whatever damage they can replace. The good news is, if there's any good news to take away from this, is that it happened on lap 1. So you go in, you get your damage fixed, and I mean, as aggravating as it is, you just ride around for the remainder of this race and wait to see how this race unfolds and get as many points as you can going into to next week.
Chris M. Scott is going to lead the pack back to the green flag as the pace car lights are. Christopher Tate, he will be lining up in second. Chris Bass, Chris Timno, and Chris Stamper round out the top 5. As you see the 72 there on the apron, that's Chris Edwards. His car is blowing up. His night effectively finished. Got about 6 cars still in the pits trying to get repairs. But as of right now, we are down to about just about 21 cars that are still fighting for the win tonight, and we're not even remotely close to halfway. But Chris Scott will get it going here on the restart. He's on the gas, green flag back in the air at Vegas, and another good jump for the number 4 Red Bull machine. Chris Bull machine, excuse me.
Clean start up at the front, and then you look further into the back. They single file out pretty quickly up in the front, but further in the back, guys are trying to make moves early here, and that's what you got to do. Track position is going to be key later into this race. It is kind of tricky to pass at Vegas because you're running so wide open here, or so near to wide open. So a lot of guys are going to be looking to get everything they can on these restarts.
One of those guys trying to do that right now is the 97 of Chris Bass. He ducks to the inside of Christopher Tate here coming to the stripe. A drag race. Oh, wow, right at the line together. They gave the spot to Chris Bass. It's going to be a 3 wide. Scott slammed the door going into 1.
Really dicey up at the front here between our top 3, and we talked about it a lot last week, Carlos, as to how guys are going to want to try and preserve those right side tires, and it's the same story here. You got to take care of that right front, the right sides, but mainly the right front tires. And if you get racing too hard like these guys are up here, that's going to fall off pretty quickly here, but doesn't seem to be worrying too much as they're Chris Bass looking back to the inside to reclaim second over the 4.
Got a little close to him there on the exit of 2, but all of that happening behind Christopher Tate. As you his
Got a
on
car
view
on
and
the
we got a
racetrack.
yellow.
They're wrecking over into another big one. 3 cars around.
Looking back here, trying to find it. Oh my goodness, and we're on to be Chris Luke Daniels. He's one of the other cars involved in right 20 of Chris Eddie Donahue. His car is blowing up, and it looks like his night is effectively going to come and end. That Chris Depot number 20. Tough break for him. It looked, yeah, and like I said, Chris Luke Daniels looked to be involved, and possibly maybe Chris Thomas Faddis as well, who's already found himself back in pit road. Christian Roos in the 14. He's got a ton of front end damage as well.
Oh man, Carlos, this started all the way back at the tri-oval, believe it or not, with the 12 of Faddis, as you mentioned. He's riding the line on that apron, and when you do that, Carlos, it does, when you're on there for too long, it obviously does upset the car because the banking starts to increase when you exit the tri-oval. And gets him loose, and he's fighting tooth and nail to try to hang on to it, and then eventually loses it and comes right back up into the racing line.
You saw it right there. He found himself in the grass and spinning down all the way to the bottom, and then he comes back up the racetrack right into the path of the 14 and the 20, including the 2 also of Chris Luke Daniels, and just really nothing really that the 14 of Christian Roos could do, Logan.
No. I mean, when you've got a car that's as low as the 12 was, that you're expecting him to stay down there. You're not expecting. I mean, he's way out of shape. The best thing he could do is just come off the gas, come off the brake, come off of everything. Let the car settle down because it's so slick down there, and you don't want that. You don't want that car to do what it did. And when you're the 14 and the 20, that's what you're expecting is for him to stay down there. And obviously that wasn't the case. And just, as you said, they just were innocent bystanders there, had nowhere to go.
You rode on board there with the 14 of Christian Roos. The 12 just turned dead right, and nothing that any of them could do. So a 4-car wreck has brought out our second caution of the night here at Las Vegas in the Chriszoil 200. Just a tough break for a lot of these guys, and you know, some people may just be trying to get too much too early, and that's why we're having wrecks like this.
It's exactly the case. I mean, you've got 133 laps here, and that might seem short, and maybe it is a little short, but you've got to make sure you're around at the end of one of these things in order to finish them. You can't finish well if you're not there at the end to do it. So, be aggressive, but be smart. And just back it down a little bit and let the race come to you, and that's what these guys need to start doing.
Chris Tate is still your race leader. Chris Scott lines up in second. Pace car light still on. We'll go around time here. 10 of 133 here tonight at Vegas. Chris Bass in third. Chris Timno fourth, and Chris Stamper fifth. Only 2 cars so far have officially called in a night. Chris Steven Scalick in the 24. And the 72 of Chris Edwards. Edwards had trouble last week at Auto Club, so this finish this week won't be much help to him. Lots of cars, though, in pit lane right now, trying to just repair what they can. Chris Luke Daniels, Chris Eddie Donahue, Chris Thomas Faddis, Christian Roos, Chris Noblet, Chris Clifford Corvo, Christopher Landy, who was blowing up, and Chris Otto, and along with Christian Shepard. Those guys trying to just try and salvage what they can. That leaves us, believe it or not, just 17 cars.
Yeah.
So we've lost 10 cars so far. Some trying to just maybe try to ride it out eventually, but still sitting in pit lane. But about, 17 cars and maybe just 10 cars who are virtually unscathed after all this. So it's been a madhouse, and we're only 10 laps in.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, when you're in this situation as a driver, you're thinking to yourself, well, now suddenly this just becomes a race of attrition. The race seems like it's going to stay on this trend, at least for the time being. So just take care of your stuff and slowly work your way up the field, and you'll be around at the end of this thing. So top 3 are showing a lot of speed. They pulled away from the rest of the group there early in the run, and look for them to do the same again here, as it looks like we're going to be going back green this time.
Pace car lights are out. That is correct, Logan, which means we'll go back to 12. About 120 or so laps to go. Chris Tate will be your leader. Chris M. Scott second. Chris Bass third, Chris Timno fourth, and Christopher Williams fifth. Want to point out one thing. Christopher Tate is your points leader right now through the first 2 races of the season, especially after winning last week. Want to point one thing out. The guy that's second in points, who has finished third at Daytona and second last week at Auto Club, Christian Antonio, did not take the green flag tonight. He is not here. So this is really good news for Chris Tate, especially if he can get a win. He can really gap the rest of the field in terms of points if he wins tonight.
Yeah, it's a fantastic opportunity for him to really pull out on his point lead. And the guy running third in points, Chriszoil in the 98, is currently sitting in 8th position. So he's not far back, but solid start for Chris Tate, and he wants to keep the momentum going here.
Might be having some technical difficulties on Logan's side, but regardless, we're about to go back to green. Christopher Tate, the points leader, will lead it to the green flag. Gets on the gas grid. 182 laps to go at Vegas.
Another good restart there for Christopher Tate, as we mentioned on the 2-1s prior. He's able to get away, and he wants to get away from those other two, Carlos, because he knows the kind of challenge that they present to him there on the later in this run here, as we see Bass looking to the outside.
Bass takes a peek to the outside of the 25. The 25 of Christopher Tate mirroring a scheme tonight that reminds a lot of us about, especially in his 2007 race in the grid. That's the Chris Yard colors on the 25 tonight, but very resembles that car that Casey took to victory lane in the 2007 Coke 600. He's got a challenge right now, though, does Christopher Tate, from that 97 of Chris Bass. That outside groove showing a little bit of speed.
Yeah, and early in the run, it's going to be good like this, especially on new tires, because the bottom gets a little bit squirrely there, Carlos, especially when you have to kind of hold it down to avoid washing up into the guy on your outside. So the top at the beginning of these runs might be the preferred line. Bass just needs to make sure he pins him down just like he's doing right there, get right alongside him and make it as difficult as he can for him. He keeps getting that run off of 2. He's looking like he's going to try and clear him here in 3 and 4. He's got to hold it a little bit tighter, I think, to make it work, though.
That inside groove, though, is the shortest way around this racetrack. So it doesn't necessarily mean it's the fastest. It is the shortest way around, as Tate continues to log laps here with that 9 into his. I'm surprised that Chris M. Scott has not been able to pounce on them with them both running side by side, but the here differently than it would at Daytona and Auto Club.
Yeah, and when you're in his position, you kind of just wonder, they're not. Oh, he turned me! What a save from Chris Bass. He's actually going to pull out and gap the rest of the 2. What a save from the 97.
I guess maybe if he's got a spotter tonight that he said he was clear, but he just came right down over the nose of Christopher Tate, and now he's getting challenged from Chris M. Scott. But if anything, that worked out really well for Chris Bass, Logan.
The unreal save from Chris Bass, as you said, and he's able to pull away from, obviously, the 25, and it looks like he's going to be able to gap the 4 of Chris Scott, but my goodness, I thought for sure that car was wrecked. What a fantastic piece of driving there from the 97 machine.
And with that puts him out in front. After all of that, though, that had second group of cars to close in a little close, but now they're starting to get gapped again with these guys showing a bit more speed. And but lap traffic about to be a factor here. They're running up Auto right now, who could be a potential problem, but he's up in the high groove to get out of the way of the race leaders. Chris Noblet starting to come up to them as well. He'll go down to the inside to stay away from these guys, so they don't have to worry much about that lap traffic. But Chris Bass, if he ends up winning this thing, that's probably going to be the move of the race that he made there, even if it was totally accidental.
Oh, we for sure would look back on that as the thing that kept his hopes alive, because I thought for sure he was either going to overcorrect or just loop the thing. And he just kept his foot in it and turned that puppy to the right and was able to stay in it and continue on. But my goodness, what a save.
Still got 2 buddies right there with him trying to maybe get an out in front of him. What I mean is, as Chris M. Scott and Christopher Tate are side by side right now for the second. Sitting back there in 4th, he's 3rd in points, so he would love to get up into this battle here, especially with the points leader, as he more than likely will take second place in the points. Dover on, I believe that's Wednesday that they'll be at Dover. Yeah, so this could be good news for Chris Roberge if he gets up there to battle. But right now, he's not showing the speed as Tate's going for the lead right now on Bass.
Well, I think what the 98 would be in his best interest is back on. He's got a nice gap there back to to fifth. So save those tires a little bit. Let these top three really run their stuff off. And all of a sudden, the 98's going to be sitting in the catbird seat. He's going to have the long run speed, and he's going to be able to close up on these three. As they're showing, the top three are showing no signs of backing down here early on.
Now, I didn't get much information on terms of when the fuel window is for these guys. Right now, the top nine. They're going to have to come down to pit for tires and fuel at some point. When they do, and when we figure it out, we'll be able to do the math. If this is going to be a two-stop race at least, it's going to be definitely be a factor down the stretch, especially with how hard these leaders are running right now.
Yeah, I would estimate it, Carlos, to be about maybe 30 to 35 laps on fuel. I'm just they are at a 75% fuel load for a full tank in these cars. So I would have guessed that's around 30 to 35 laps for a green flag run. It could be a little bit shorter than that. As I've said before, it's a lot of throttle time here at Vegas, so not a lot of backing off the throttle. So we could see these guys ducking into pit road around lap 50 to 55, I would imagine.
So if that is the case to lap 50 to 55, that would be a two-stop race, and that would get them to the finish, the completion of 133 laps. In the event of cautions, we do have a couple of overtime periods, so they got to think about that as well. As Chris Bass now still trying to get to the inside of Christopher Tate here, trying to find the line that's fast, and also trying not to get overtaken by the 4 of Chris Scott.
Almost had a big moment off of turn number 4 there, the 17 of, the 27. Yeah, 27 of Christopher Saul. Ran right up to Chris Noblet in the 17 there, and about got into him off of turn number 4. So I thought we were going to be looking at our third caution of the day there, but no harm, no foul.
The cars that are official, we're going to officially mark them out of the race but their nights are effectively done. Chris Thomas Faddis, Chris Eddie Donahue, and Christian Roos. So a lot of those guys, all 4 of those guys, which were involved in our last caution, they are finding themselves out of the race. Chris Noblet, Chris Otto, Clifford Corvo, Cody Jenkins, they were able to continue. Cody Jenkins is the only car 1 lap down, so we get another caution. He can get back on the lead lap, and that would give us 17 on the lead lap. And in terms of real legitimate lap traffic, that's not really happening right now, as Chris Newman is the last car on the lead lap. He's only 9 seconds back, and it's a long way before he would even get lapped. So these leaders don't have to worry about lap traffic for the time being.
Yeah, based on you need a long green flag, really long green flag run here at Vegas before you genuinely start lapping the fields in regards to cars that maybe haven't had any incidents. So no real concern there yet for Chris Newman in the 90, as you mentioned. But going to the 18 of Chris Jenkins, being the only one car off the lead lap right now, he would get the lucky dog. Looks like, he's involved in one of those, in that first wreck there off of turn number 4, but minimal damage there for that 18 Toyota. So he'll be looking for a caution here shortly to get himself back in contention for this thing.
Woo, man, Bass didn't take the best of entrances in there into turn. Being hounded right now by Chris Bass. Further back, not much action happening. Christopher King right now trying to get the 7th spot away from Chris Stamper. My goodness, that was very close.
He's all over him.
Yeah, he's all over him, and now he's trying to move back down to the inside to get around the 81. I believe that's the Chris Dew colors on the 81. Nice-looking scheme he's got tonight. But still, right now, it's going to belong to Chris Stamper, as the 781 of Christopher King was not able to get there, but he's still trying to battle him.
Yeah, not sure what kind of colors that 81 is flying there. I thought maybe for a second it was skull or something, or some kind of tobacco, but I'm not entirely. You could be right in that being Chris Dew. That's what it looks like anyway. That's the same kind of color scheme that we see on the Mountain Dew cars in real life, the throwback schemes. But this is probably our closest battle on the racetrack. Maybe ahead of them, there's about 3 cars battling for 4th. The 98, the 42, and the 99.
Yeah, they're battling up there as well. You are absolutely right. Tim No with a 42 of Christopher Williams. And yeah, and they've caught Bears. Had a bit of a run whenever Tate, Bass, and Scott were mixing it up there. But Robert's just falling back into the lap of these guys. And now Tim No is going to try and get to the inside here of Chris Robert's going into 3 to take the 4th spot away.
Seeing a lot of guys throughout the field here, Carlos. It's running a bunch of the higher lines whenever they're in the battles. There's some guys running around the bottom, some running around the top, trying to experiment maybe where's a little bit faster, what's a little bit easier on the tires. And it could be something as simple as just trying to get the high line to come in, wear in that groove a little bit so that it's there later in the race for them to use. But a little bit of experimenting going on right now throughout the field here.
No, you're absolutely right. They're just trying to find the line, and whatever works for them, they stick with it. In terms of lap times, it's just been Christopher Tate who's just been putting a clinic on the rest. Oh, no, I'm reading that wrong. I thought that read 28, and I was like, wow, that's really no, the fastest lap is a 29.78 laid down by Tate, but the speeds have really fallen off as the 3 leaders are about running 2 seconds slower lap times than their best lap time that they probably laid down at the start of the race.
Yeah, you do see quite a bit of tire fall off here because of how wide open it is early in the run on those fresh tires. You're able to, it's damn near wide open. I apologize for my language there. It's so wide open at the start of this race that wears the right sides off. So whenever you get later into the run, it really backs up the pace of the race. But I'm so impressed with this top 3. How close they're able to stand, that they haven't lost time to the rest of the field behind them.
As these guys continue to go around the racetrack, they'll lap 34 on the board. That'll give us 100 laps to go. We'll go ahead and give you a full field rundown right now as they run. Chris M. Scott into 4, he's 2nd. Chris Bass in 3rd. Tim No is now in the 4th position. Chris Robert is in 5th, as you can put a blanket under 5th through 8th right now. Williams in 6th. Stamper in 7th as the battling continues. 8th is Christopher King, and then you got to go a little further back so you get to Jonathan Leach there in the 48 colors. And then rounding out the top 10 is the 6 of the 62 of Christopher Reese. And then you go further back in the lead lap cars. Chris Jones in 11th. Christopher Ritchie in the Chris Tide colors, if you will, in 12th. Chris Hupcott lines up 13th.
Turn 1 and 2, Carlos. I'm sorry for interruption there. The 81 got a little bit of tag going into turn 1. It looks like he's gathered it up, but heavy contact with the outside wall entering turn 1. I thought for sure he was going to go around in front of the field.
I knew they were starting to really gather up there. Those Stamper was one of them, and it just did not work as he's now about to be under from Jonathan Leach. A lot of damage right now on that 80 right side of the machine.
He got a little touch. He turned in a little bit, and on the 42 got him a little bit in the right rear, and that shot the 81 up the racetrack. I'm not sure if the 42 came up or the 81 turned down. It looks like the 81 might have turned down a little bit, but got the 42 in the right rear, and that sent him up the hill.
So a tough break for Chris Stamper, but it's a saving grace in the fact that he still finds himself inside the top 10 spot. Meanwhile, while we were going through that full field rundown, Chris M. Scott was able to close up onto the back bumper of Chris Tate as they're starting to navigate some lap traffic. As some cars have been able to bring it back onto the racetrack. Christopher Landy has got the engine damage repaired. Same with Chris Luke Daniels. They're back on the racetrack well off the pace, 21, 23 laps down respectively. But now that battle between Tate and Scott is kind of fizzled out as Tate's now settled into a groove once again as they navigate the lap traffic. We'll go ahead and finish up that full field rundown. 14th is Chris Newman back there in the 90. He's got Christopher Papa right there in 15th. Those are the cars on the lead lap. Chris Cody Jenkins, he's mixing it up here with some of the lead lap cars. He's the first car 1 lap down, the only car 1 lap down. Christopher Salm finds himself 2 laps down in 17th. Chris Clifford Corvo in his 7, he's 6 laps down. And then Christopher Otto, Christopher Landy, Chris Luke Daniels, and Chris Noblet are the remaining cars in this race, as Faddis Donahue, Christian Ruse, Chris Edwards, Chris Steven Scallick, and Christian Shepard are done for the night. Back up at the front, Chris Tate now trying to get further away from Chris Scott, but man, Chris Scott is not letting him out of his sights, as Chris Bass is also starting to lose some time on these guys.
Yeah, I think Bass might have used up his tires there quite a bit trying to hang on, but you know, one guy we talked about earlier, oh, excuse me, I mistook the car number there. I thought that was the 98 I thought that was the 98 that had closed up to the back bumper of Bass there, but it was just a lap car. But I think Bass might have worn out his tires there trying to stay with those two, and might just be backing off now and letting those two kind of race it out here for the remainder of the run.
That run coming down to a close in about 10 or so laps. I want to point out one thing about the 781 King. He's on a completely different fuel and tire run. I think he made a pit stop under one of our cautions, and he's got 9 laps newer tires than anybody else in the top 10, with the exception of Chris Jones, who's only got about 3 laps newer tires and fuel than the rest of this. Something to watch out for here. If the cautions fall right, Christopher King could be in a really good position.
Yeah, I think he pit under both cautions there, based on what I can see from his lap times. So I think you're right in saying that he could have he could indefinitely have the fastest car on the racetrack right now. He just might not be pushing it to the limit right now, as he's lapping in the 31.5 range. He is in the middle of a pretty tight pack here in the battle for 5th. But I think he could be hanging on to his stuff and maybe making a charge, as you said, towards the latter half of this run.
Someone who's also on the same fuel run as him, for Richie, finds himself in a gaggle of cars right now. Chris Stamper is one of them. He's definitely a little bit off the pace with about 5 cars in this little pack here, along with the lap car, Chris Cody Jenkins. Christopher Ritchie, he's on the same fuel run as Christopher King, so that's another thing to watch out for as well. So when the leaders do pit, expect these guys to pit about 9 or 10 laps after the leaders pit. So that's another thing to remember down the stretch. If we did the math right, and you pit at lap, say, 55, you pit at lap 55, that gets you to lap 110. If these guys play it right, they can try and stretch it out when it comes time for the finish of this thing, in the case of Christopher King and Richie.
Well, I mean, Vegas is notorious for gambling and staying out on fuel. You've got the strip not too far to the outside of turn 1 and 2, so you do some gambling on a strip, you come out here, you come race out here, and you do some more gambling of your own. So a lot of these guys are, as you said, are in position to where that could be the case if this thing stays green, which, as of right now, looks like it could very well stay green to the end of this thing, but would not be surprised to see fuel strategy come into play here.
Fuel strategy already coming into play here on lap 4. Surrendered the lead and is in pit lane right now, getting service down. Oh my goodness, not a very quick lap time. It's about a pit time, a 14.7 pit stop for him as he surrenders the lead. Also now in the pits, so we now know the fuel run. About lap 45 is when these guys got to bring it down. So, oh my goodness, that is going to be very close now when you think about the math when it comes to the finish of this thing, as Bass and Scott are now into the pits.
Yeah, I was a little bit off on the calculations there, but Chris Bass had a great entry. I went back and checked. I thought he might be a little close to speeding there because he came in pretty hot, but he got it woed down in time, and now it's going to be a dead heat off the line between he and Chris Scott. 2 really good pit stops there. They came in together. They're going to come out together here. So
a little bit of a quicker stop for Chris Scott, about 0.4 seconds quicker. Christopher King, as I predicted, he is your the only guys not to pit on this cycle so far are Christopher Reese and Chris Jones as well, along with King and Richie, as King and Richie are going to be able to stretch it out about another 9. This is going to be very interesting to think about. The leaders pit at lap 45, so assume by doing simple math, the next time you'd have to pit is lap 90. And then that should get you theoretically to the end. But if we have to go to an overtime period that pushes us 133, that could be big time trouble for all those guys that are on the fuel run, like Christopher Tate, Chris M. Scott, and Chris Bass.
Yeah, you're right with the calculations there. It's very close to the end, especially. I mean, you go from, as you said, to lap 90, and then from there, from theoretically lap 90 to lap 133. It's about 43 laps right there. So, I mean, it's a very tight finish here for a lot of these guys. So maybe a little bit of fuel saving. We'll come into the end. Chris Scott and Chris Bass nearly hooked each other into the fence in turn number 3, trying to get around the lap car, the 2 car there of... I don't know who that was. Chris Daniels over in 3 and 4.
A little bit of drama for our 2 that will eventually find themselves back in 2nd and 3rd. Chris Jones is a guy, he has still not brought it down into the pits. He's on 47 when a lot of these guys started to come down and pit. I'm expecting him to come in this time by. He's currently the 3rd place car, and yeah, here he comes now as he'll bring it down into the pits, as we're still expecting Christopher King and Christopher Ritchie to come down and pit. That would complete this cycle and hand the lead back over to Christopher Tate.
I thought Chris Jones was going to miss that entry there, Carlos. He had trouble getting it down onto the apron. It's a tricky apron to get down to because it's so slippery coming off that banking. He did a good job, though, of hanging on to it and bringing it down. Service will be done on that 33 Ford.
Christopher Ritchie has surrendered the lead, and he is now coming down to pit lane here to make his pit stop. A little bit of an odd entrance into pit, going down some pit boxes that are not occupied, as it's only a 20 pit road, normally accustomed to about a 43 car field. But Ritchie brings it in about 5 laps earlier than I thought he would have, but it looks like he's maybe trying to, I don't know, get on the same fuel run as the rest of the leaders, or I don't know what the strategy was there. Regardless, Christopher Ritchie now is the race leader as he's driving it around here, and it looks like he's slowing down. Oh, no, it's not. I thought he may be trying to come to the pits, but Chris got to his inside, so Ritchie's got to stick it out there for another lap.
Yeah, that was Chris King that was pitting from the lead there, and as you're saying now, Chris Ritchie, our current race leader, as he's going to cycle. He's going to try and stretch this as long as he can because he probably knows, Carlos, how close it's going to be on fuel. He's on lap 53 here. He did actually pit on that last caution. He, as we were talking about earlier, one of those guys who pit under both cautions. He's gonna be in pretty good shape. This will guarantee, well, maybe not guarantee, but give him a little bit of comfort if there is a green-white checkered in this race. But he should be able to comfortably make it to the end of this thing.
The bad thing right now for Christopher King right now, he's found himself 2 laps down, which means he's already a lap down to our new lead, who will be going to reassume the lead. That'd be Christopher Tate. So that fuel strategy for King may not work out for him. Something might be going. I don't know what's going on with the 781. He may have had to come down.
Yeah, we saw him. I think he might have been hit for speeding there, Carlos, and his first time through. Because he definitely came down pit road twice, so not sure what the issue is. But as you said, 2 laps down, and I think he might have been hit for speeding.
So a tough break for a guy who was trying to play the fuel strategy that would out the window. He's on the freshest tires of everybody, but swings way low to the inside of the 27 that Christopher saw. That's for position, mind you. Sliding up the track, makes contact with the 20, I think that's, the 27 of Psalm, and he puts him into the wall. My goodness.
Little bit of argy-bargy off of turn number 4 there. It's not necessarily the one thing you want to do here at a track like Vegas, but they're all able to gather it up. Got really close with the 5 there entering turn 1. My goodness.
I think he's got a tire down, Logan.
Certainly the damage has been done to that 27. He's trying to recover from that, but could have cut a tire.
He was very, sorry to interrupt you, he was very squirrely on the front straight. Wrong with him. It looks like he's got it righted now.
Yeah, he could have just been a little shook up there trying to gather it up and not get anybody's way.
Whoa! He got into Chris Scott!
Into the wall!
Oh my goodness!
No caution, we stay green. But the huge, big implications there for the 4. Doesn't look like too much damage there.
Oh my goodness, a lot just happened right there on the front straight. Big time damage though for Christopher Sohm. He is really all over the place, finds himself. He is really trying to just limp it back to pit road. Definitely wrong there with the 27.
Well, I think he knocked the toe out of it there with that contact on the outside wall, and as you said, he's bringing it down to pit road now. Finally, the damage has been done. Really unfortunate situation for him, as he was running a decent race, recovering from that wreck earlier in the race. But guy who I thought we saw his race end was Chris Bass, who just escaped getting taken out in that mess. That was way too close for his comfort.
Following the 27, still down pit road. See if he's just call it a day. A really tough break for him. He actually stalled there, but now gets it in there. He's going to look to get service, and he'll try to get it going again. And he's going to be on a completely different fuel run than everybody else, but it's not going to matter. He's 3 laps down. But after all that, Chris Tate is the leader again. He's got a 5-second lead over Chris Bass. And he's currently battling right now. Believe is the 781 of Christopher King, who's trying to get himself back to just 1 lap down, and he does successfully, as he is on, of course, 9 lap newer tires than the leader.
Yeah, and he's trying to, recover as best he can, and if a caution comes out, it'll be his saving grace, as he will unlap himself once, and now is in a somewhat of a battle with Chris Jones, who is now the last car on the lead lap. A little bit of contact going into turn 1 moved him up out of the groove, so Chris Jones is going to go a lap down, and that will leave Carlos only 7 cars on the lead lap right now.
Kind of looking like the IndyCar race that myself and Sam Dyer called on the lead lap, and that's definitely the case right now. Chris Bass, however, with Tate really mixed up in this lap traffic, has been able to cut the gap down to about 0.3. Not as quick, but still, regardless, he is starting to try to gain up on the 25, as the 25 is not really in clean air at the moment as he heads down the back straightaway here at Vegas. That 7 car coming up, he gets out of the way. Good thing, good stuff. And the 25 continues to pace the rest of this pack about 4 seconds ahead of Bass.
Yeah, Chris Bass lost a little bit of time whenever that incident with the 27 occurred. I think there was a lot of checking up there as he was watching him bob and weave, but he's in a little bit of a lap traffic himself, going underneath the 5 into turn 1, and he'll clear him without a fight. And now he's got clean racetrack now, Carlos, so he can just focus on reeling in that 25. See what kind of speed he's got here.
Nearest car to him would be the 7 right now, so he doesn't have to worry about in terms of a dirty air. That 7 is very slow, so he should. And Chris Bass can start trying to run down Chris Tate, who is still trying to deal with dirty air. He's got a lot of cars. As Landy got the there as we hand back to the leader, Tate. He's able to get it righted, though, and keep it going as, Tate's got a lot of action happening around him right now.
Yeah, a lot of lap traffic that this 25 has to work through. Thankfully, though, a lot of it is pretty heavily damaged, so it should be pretty easy for him to go by, as we see him go by the 17 of Chris Nobbett with great ease there. And got a couple more cars to clear before he can breathe a little sigh of relief and just focus on running his line.
Now, the thing for him, too, is Chris Jones is not looking to try to lose Chris Tate, as Chris Jones is the first car 1 lap down. We haven't had a caution since the opening portion of this race. Very, very... But it hasn't happened just yet. Chris Jones right now, he is in the lucky dog position. He would get his lap back with a caution, but I think he wants to do it the hard way and get around the leader and then put himself the last car a lap down. On the lead lap.
he's got a little bit of a buffer because the next car behind him is Chris Hubka in the 5, and he is currently off in turn number 2 behind actually our second place runner, Chris Bass. So a little bit of a gap right now for Chris Jones. If he just maintains with the 25, should the caution come out, he would easily get the lucky dog and be back on the lead lap. He does have, despite the whole back end missing from that car, he does still have quite a bit of pace left in it. So he's certainly not out of this thing yet.
That time by, Christopher Tate ran a 31.326. Chris Jones ran a 31.37, so he is not as slow. Luke Daniels out of shape there off the corner as they try to continue to navigate some lap traffic. I think the reason, if we get another caution, it's going to be from these damaged cars who are just struggling to just log laps and stuff like that and colliding with other cars that are going faster. We saw it with the 27 of Christopher Salm and the 4 of Chris M. Scott. In the case of Christopher Salm, he has brought it into pit lane, still getting service right now, maybe trying to get it back out there, but for the time being, his day is effectively finished.
Yeah, and the closing rate for these cars that don't have a scratch on them compared to the ones that have seen all sorts of trouble this afternoon is just so immense, so it's very easy for a little misjudgment to happen and for guys to run over one another. But as long as that doesn't happen, I could see this going green to the end. Currently working lap 69 out of 133.
Just past the halfway point here at Vegas on Flatout Racing Network. And on Facebook, we'd like to welcome you in here for the NASCAR Chris Cup Series race tonight, the Chriszoil 200 at Las Vegas. My name's Carlos Zimmerman. Alongside me, Logan Tate is your leader. You saw him there just get a little bit loose off the corner, and that's going to allow Chris Jones to get his inside to maybe get his lap back.
And the guy who's loving this right now, I've been paying attention to it bit by bit, is Chris Bass. He's slowly reeling in Chris Tate lap by lap. The gap is now down to 4.7 seconds. When we started this run, whenever the cycle started, Chris Bass was about 5.5 seconds back. So he is closing that gap down.
The unfortunate thing, though, for the 97 is he's going to deal with a traffic right here as he clears the 2 of Luke Daniels. That's not the good thing for Bass, but yeah, he is closing that gap down.
Well, you say that he's got to deal with a group of lap cars, but the difference, Carlos, is they're all way off the pace in comparison to him. Meanwhile, Chris Tate up here has got his hands full with Chris Jones in that 33 because he took him side by side for about a lap and a half. They're really fighting tooth and nail to get his lap back the hard way.
No, you're absolutely right. That's one way to do it, if you will, to get the lap back and battling with these guys. Chris Jones, just like that, just lost his lap again. I don't know why he has to race the leader that hard if he's just going to be fighting himself. I mean, I get the reason why, because you want to be last car on the lead lap. You don't want to worry about having to settle for a lucky dog, but right now, he still is the first car one lap down. He doesn't have much to worry about, and should he get a yellow here within the next 60 laps, he should be okay.
Well, I mean, he's probably paying attention to that relative a little bit, too, because you look at the lap times that Chris Jones has been running. He's been running about mid-31s, and you jump back to the 5, and he's running a consistently low 131. So he is closing lap by lap on the 33, actually. Now the 81 has gotten by the 5, so the 81 of Chris Stamper is now the second car one lap down. And folks, the reason we're focusing on this battle so much right now is because it's one of the closest on the racetrack. We've got 4.5 seconds between our two race leaders, and there's really no action going on elsewhere. So the battle for the lucky dog is probably one of the more thrilling battles going on the track right now.
Yeah, it's the thing you got to consider at a track like this, with how spread out these guys can get. You got to look at some other battles and get some guys some more air. Guys, Chris Stamper, he's got about 5 seconds to Chris Jones, so he has a lot of ground to make up if he wants to catch up to him. You see Landy coming back off of the pits, his night, just not the night he wanted, but Christopher Tate, he's still just managing this field very well. Chris Bass, the gap is starting to grow again as these tires are starting to wear off again, as Christopher Tate just put 31 laps on his tires. He's going to be looking to be coming back down pit road in the next 12, 15 laps.
Yeah, and while the gap is increasing between Bass and Tate, it's decreasing between Bass and Scott, as now he is closing into within 2 seconds on that second-place car. Remember, Chris Scott was the one that the 27 got into it with off of turn number 4. Almost saw his day come to an end, but the great save said otherwise for that 4 Toyota. And he's going to actually touch with the 5 off of 4. Argy-bargy once again in turn number 4 for the Chris Scott, and he's going to hang on to it, and man, he's really flirting with disaster with some of these lap cars here, Carlos.
My goodness, it's just he cannot get away from all this just action around him. He's got a lot of cars around him. He can't get away from trouble, and it's these lap cars that are spelling trouble for these leaders. We've seen it across. No one is a prisoner to any of this.
Yeah, nobody is safe. There's only 7 cars on the lead lap, so the majority of the field is a lap down, and they're all trying to fight to get back into this race. The ones that are just simply lapped due to the long green flag run and maybe not necessarily sustained damage, but no place is safe for these leaders right now. It's just big groups of lap traffic everywhere you look.
As these guys continue to just navigate their way around the racetrack, 56 laps to go, 55 laps to go now for these guys. Christopher Tate has really opened up the lead now on second place Chris Bass. The reason for him opening it up, he does technically have quite a bit of clean air. Not many lap cars in front of him, as those lap cars before were able to drive away from him.
Yeah, clean air is huge, and he's got a comfortable gap. It's a 5.5 second gap now, so he can start backing up his pace a little bit, which we have seen him do. His lap times have started to drop. They kind of fluctuate. He gets on it a little bit for a few laps, and then he backs back off it to try and increase that gap. And he's in such a comfortable position right now. 5.5 seconds, 5.6 seconds at the line last time. And he's just going to continue increasing that gap. He's got a couple lap cars ahead of him, but he should be able to get them one by one here.
He's definitely got the car to beat tonight. That is no doubt in the minds of I can speak for. I'm sure I can speak for Logan on that he's got the car to beat right now. But many of these races, they can be won on pit road, and they can be lost on pit road, as we're going to have to see pit road at least one more time tonight. And Christopher Tate, he's definitely going to have to hit his marks when it comes to that. And in a track like this, I don't think we've seen our last caution either. With how some of these guys have been racing, cautions, we're going to see caution number 3 soon. Maybe not soon, but some point before the end of this race.
Yeah, and as you said, we've still got one more trip to pit road awaiting these guys, and it's such a tricky pit road. So this race is by no means over for Christopher Tate. He's still got to get that car slowed down to 50 miles an hour, which is a tricky thing to do here at Vegas because it's such a slick apron down there. And we saw in that last green flag stop how aggressive Chris Bass was getting to pit road, and we saw that at Auto Club too. He really hauls coming into pit road. So by no means is this over. One bad pit stop and we could have a race on our hands.
Christopher Tate's starting to slowly reel in 7th place Chris Jonathan Leach, who's the last car on the lead lap. That is not good news for Chris Jones, because that would move him to 2nd car. 1 lap down. So he needs to either hope for a caution to happen like right now, or to drive up there and battle Leach for the lucky dog spot.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he's going to end up having to do, as Christopher Leach is right there on the outside, going to go a lap down here entering turn number 1, and it's pedal to the metal now for Chris Jones if he wants to get back into this thing, because he just saw his lucky dog slip away.
It's about 10 seconds to get to Chris Roberge, who's actually our third in points right now. He's fallen all the way back to the 6th position. He's now the last car on the lead lap, as these guys continue to log laps. 50 laps to go here tonight at Vegas in the Chriszoil 200. Christopher Tate, he will cross the line, and he would put lap number 40 on this run, so I'm expecting him within the next 5 laps to bring it in.
Yeah, and I think we're starting to see that cycle begin here as Chris Leach has ducked it onto pit road. He's going to be the first car to hit pit road. I believe this is a scheduled stop. I don't see any reason why this would be unscheduled or right around that window. Bit of a stretch, though, for him. He might be taking a gamble here, pitting with lap 84. Well, that's a ways to go to the end, but you know what? He could be gambling, as we talked about. Sometimes you gotta roll the dice here at Vegas.
See, I just do not know if that's going to be enough to get him into the finish. I saw Christopher Ritchie stretch it out to about a 47-lap fuel run, so it is doable. So he could run it to the end, but the rest of these guys that are out there, especially the ones on the lead lap, I think they're trying to run it to the point where they don't need to pit again.
Right, and that's obviously the safe bet if you're Chris Tate or one of our leaders is just play it safe and put yourself in a situation where you don't have to back up your pace, you don't have to save fuel. 6.5 second gap he's got right now, so just run the car out right now and make sure you're good to the end, even if we do have a green-white checker.
Christopher Tate still just dominating this race. He's really opened up the gap now as Chris M. Scott is moving to second. I think Chris Bass is now into the pits, and yes, he is.
Really aggressive entry here for him here. Comes to stop in his box nice and steadily. Oh, we had to back it up just a hair, Carlos. That could cost him a half a second, if anything, but every little bit counts, and that could hurt him here.
That's really going to hurt him, as this stop is going to be a very slow stop for him. 15.1 seconds. The slowest that we've seen tonight, aside from Christopher Williams, who put a 16-second pit stop. But that is really going to kill Chris Bass's run. That should get him to the finish on fuel and tires as he pit at lap 88. That would give him 46 laps to go. Yeah, he should be good to go. Then again, you never know. That caution could happen, and that could come back to bite some of these guys. But Chris Tate, he's still running it out there. He's running it a little further than he did on that first run.
Yeah, he's probably aware of the mistake that Bass made, and he's going to just try and back up his pace a little bit to try and see if he can make it a little further, just to give him even more reassurance here. Not showing any signs that he wants to hit pit road. And he's continuing to open up that gap. Chris Scott now will assume second place, about 10.5 seconds back from Chris Tate.
Now, the gap really extended in terms of from first to second on the last fuel run when they came down to pit road. This, I think it could even extend further whenever Tate does decide to bring it down. As you see him trying to navigate around here, the 27 who's returned to the racetrack, and here he comes.
Coming in this time, nice, smooth, and steady. That's exactly the entrance he needed. Down to 50. Hit it right at the line. A perfect entry for Tate. It's all going to matter about this pit stop now.
We'll keep it right here with him as he brings it down. Remember, you got to think about the exit as well for Tate. He's got the third pit box, so it's not like he has a lot of room to speed up and get up to speed once he is not off a pit road. Brings it in nicely. Ooh, slowed up a little bit, but perfect entry, though, as he'll get the right sides up and get this pit stop going for the 25, the guy who's been just utterly dominant tonight. He's staring right now at a 14-second pit stop when they drop the jack. 14.6, a little slower than his first stop, but he brings it out, and he will more than likely reassume the lead. You saw Chris No falling in behind him in his number 99, running in 7th at the moment as he gets his service. Chris M. Scott, the guy who just took the lead from Christopher Tate, he's now brought it in there, Logan.
Yeah, nice smooth entry for Scott as well, maintaining all the time that he had made up. And is going to bring it down pit road, get his last service of the afternoon, or last scheduled service, that is. And nice smooth stop for him as well so far. Interesting to see where Bass winds up at the end of this thing. Right now, he scored 9th on the lead lap. So we'll see if maybe that little bit of slide in his box is how much is going to cost him come the end of this thing.
Chris Scott kind of spun the tires coming out of pit lane there, so not sure if he was just trying to get away quickly and get back up to speed as fast as he can. The leader right now is Chris Roberge. He is the guy who's third in points, sitting pretty comfortably in points right now. I want to point one thing out. Christopher Tate, 18 seconds back right now. Chris Bass, he's less than 3 seconds from Christopher Tate, so the gap shortened there, even though Chris Bass made the mistake. But Tate, though, is gaining a little bit, though, on Bass, as the gap's now 3 seconds. Might be navigating lap traffic, and that might be the case for Bass. That is the case, but Robert's just brought it into pit. That should hand the lead over to Chris Jones, who for the longest time was the first car 1 lap down, and now he's the leader.
And I think to your point about the gap closing between Tate and Bass is you got to look at the way Tate maybe entered his box. He was really slow getting into his box, made sure he made no mistakes, but I think in the long run, that costed him more than Bass's little slide through the box, as he only had to pop it in the reverse and back up just a hair. So I think in the long run, you look at those 2 pit stops, and I think Bass maybe got through pit road a little bit quicker than Tate did.
That may be very true. The timing on the lane, actually, Tate was about a second quicker than Bass was on the telemetry when coming down pit lane. But maybe when they cleared pit lane, the exit was a little bit different for both of them. Right now...
Go ahead.
Right now, Christopher Tate is starting to run up on Chris Jones here. Chris Jones still just trying to log laps, hope for a yellow, and that would work out for him. But Christopher Tate's coming in a hurry, and he's going to just overtake him here and reassume the lead here. Oh, and the caution is out! Oh my goodness! It's right here in turn 1. It's the 62 of Christopher Reese, and oh my goodness, that couldn't have happened at a better time for Chris Jones.
That's a fantastic timing for the 33. A huge break, as he's going to be the leader, but he's obviously going to come down pit road. But this is going to put him back on the lead lap, as he ultimately would have lost the lead lap and would have totally been out of this race at this point. So fantastic gamble for the 33 to stay out, and this is a huge turn of events for him.
Now we'll go back and see what happened to the 62 of Christopher Reese, but regardless, this is going to put Jones... Oh boy, I'm looking at our screen here. Tate's coming in with him.
Interesting. Very interesting call there from Christopher Tate. We'll see if Bass decides the Bass is coming down too. So the leaders are coming in. They're topping off. Maybe they were concerned as to whether or not they could make it there, Carlos. Maybe they weren't sure if they could make it to the end on this thing. Maybe they're just topping off to be safe for a green-white checkered.
You saw here in the replay, the 62 was trying to get around the lap car 20 of Chris Eddie Donahue. And man, it happened right in front of our leaders, mind you. He just came down and just spun off the nose of him, and he was down on the apron, just no grip for him down there, and that's why we're under our 3rd caution of the night here at Las Vegas. So, wow, I knew the caution was going to come sooner than later, and, well, it did. And right now, that is just, wow, I'm shocked right now how wild that worked out.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what the strategy call was there. I gotta think it's just a concern on these guys just not having enough to make it to the end, or don't think they have enough to make it to the end. And it's so fantastic for Chris Jones. We saw him, as we were talking about him a lot during that green flag run, is fighting so hard to stay right behind Tate to keep himself in the lucky dog spot. Now he's up here in 2nd place because of a very fortunate caution and the fortunate decision that everybody else behind him came to pit road.
No, you're absolutely right. Lap 97 is what we're on right now. Christopher Williams is the man that has assumed the race lead. He for the first time today, is the race leader. So that's a good thing for him there in the 42 Motor Chris Ford, as he is the leader. Chris Tate is in 2nd, and man, I gotta tell you, that could not, like we said, that could not have worked out any better for the 33 of Chris Jones.
Yeah, and it would appear that this is obviously fortunate for Christopher Williams, as he did come on to pit road lap 92. So he's got fresh tires there. He's going to gamble and stay out ahead of the rest of these guys, and is going to be our leader, as you said. So another fortunate break for another driver that's going to really put this back into contention. And looking back down through the field, the 781 Carlos scored 7th place 1 lap down. So on the lead lap rather. So another lucky. A lot of these guys caught very lucky breaks with this caution.
And with the leaders pitting, that is going to allow some cars to take the wave around as well. Those that were a lap down. That includes Chris Stamper, Christopher Ritchie, and Chris Hupka. Ritchie was working that fuel strategy. This is also going to allow Cody Jenkins and Chris Newman to get one of their 2 laps back. And they'll be now the 2 cars that are 1 lap down. So this caution couldn't have come at a better time for a lot of guys, and it's going to come down into the final stages of this race. When we go back green, it looks like we'll have 34 laps to go, and that is definitely going to get us to the finish. Even with 2 overtime periods, it would get us to the end. More than likely, we'll have to see if that's going to be the case. As Williams bringing it around here, these guys will start speeding up to take the wave around. Pace car lights, I believe, are out. I'm trying to get a good look here.
We're going to be paced. They are out this time, but these guys in front should be. There they go. They're getting the wave around now. But this is going to bring us back to 12 cars on the lead lap here. And this restart could be as racy as we've seen here, Carlos. This could be just like the start of the race. A lot of these guys got some very fortunate breaks, and they're going to be excited that they're in the position that they are. So look for this to be a pretty wild restart, I think.
Your top 10 as they run will be Christopher Williams, Christopher Tate, Chris Jones, Chris Timno, Christopher King is your top 5. Chris Bass, Chris M. Scott, Chris Jonathan Lees, Chris Roberge, and Christopher Ritchie, with Chris Hupka being the last car on the lead lap. We got some new players up here at the front now, as our 2 other guys who have been up front with Christopher Tate, Chris Bass, and Chris M. Scott find themselves mired back in 6th and 7th. It's going to be a very exciting restart. You got to think if cautions are going to breed cautions here, it's going to be very interesting. When we take the green, it'll be 34 laps to go. Christopher Williams, the control car, he'll bring it down to the start-finish line. Green flag in the air. Good start, though, for both of the guys on the front row.
Yeah, very good start for the Christopher Tate in that 25. Look at Chris back in the pass. 3 wide going into turn number 1.
Man, he really split the difference there, trying to get past the 33 and the 99, and he made it work. It's going to be a 3-wide battle for the lead coming off the corner. Williams trying to slam the door as Bass right there on the apron. Oh my goodness, what a move! He's sideways and he saves it. Oh my goodness. Oh wait, still trying to hang on to it, and he saves it for a second time tonight. What a drive by the 97.
What a restart. We knew it was going to be crazy. I cannot believe they didn't wreck it up on the back straightaway. I thought for sure the 42 was going to get sent around. He was throwing the block on the 97. Fantastic bit of driving from everybody in that situation. Huge break for the 25, though, as he's going to be out to a monstrous lead already on this restart.
Oh, my goodness. Had to catch my breath after that one. Chris M. Scott, after all that, finds himself in 2nd. Chris Timno 3rd. Christopher King 4th, and Roberge 5th. All these guys about on the same tire wear, so this is going to be, it's about the top 8 that are all in the same tire wear, so they're going to be all about dead even when it comes down to the end of this thing, barring any cautions. But right now, Christopher Tate's been able to gap these guys a little bit, but he's by himself. If these guys start to link up a little bit and not battle each other, they could really run down the 25. As soon as I say that, Roberge goes to the inside of the 781.
Yeah, they could. Well, I don't think we're at a point in the race here, Carlos, where these guys are going to be thinking that they all want to race each other and they all want to get ahead of one another. But Chris Scott is actually closed in on the 25 of Tate, and we could have another battle for the lead here on our hands as he's bringing the 99 with him.
Christopher Tate now the gap about half a second as the 4 continues to close in on the 25. Man, oh man, it's just, wow, a lot of action on restarts. You love to see it at these tracks, like at Vegas. You see it at Auto Club Daytona as well. Amazing we're not under yellow right. But with 30 laps to go, Christopher Tate still well in control of this one.
Yeah, it's such an amazing move from Chris Bass to make it 3 wide, and the move he tried down the back straightaway was absolutely 100% legal. That's a white line down there. That apron is totally within track limits, but there's just no grip. And when he was on the apron in the bottom of 3, there's just no grip down there. And so that's why you saw him get sideways, but a fantastic save. The second save we've seen him have to make here this afternoon in a similar situation. And this time it hurt him a lot more than it did him good. He's currently running back there in 7th. Meanwhile, back up at the front, Chris Scott, he's closing in on Chris Tate. We're going to have a battle for the lead here.
And with these guys getting side by side, that could allow Chris Timno and Chris Roberge to close in. It seems that, I don't know if Tate's not running as hard. He's got about 2/10 of a second slower lap times than Scott, No, and Roberge, and even Chris Jonathan Leach back in 6th. These guys are, although the top 6 are all within 2 seconds, they could be all battling it up here. Chris Bass isn't even that farther back after all that. He's in 7th, 3.1 seconds back, but Tate, for the longest time in this race, didn't have any challengers around him, but that caution all of a sudden has brought new players into the fold.
Yeah, and this race is far from over for all these guys here in the top 5. As soon as these two get battling, you could bet everybody else is going to close up, and it's just that gap is closing inch by inch. Scott is all over the back bumper of Tate right now.
You can put the top 6 all in the same picture, but right now, Chris M. Scott's going to try to use the outside line. Now sinks back behind the 25 of Chris Tate. Gets a really good run off of turn number 4. He's going to be right on the back bumper of the 25 coming to the line.
Watch for him to look high here in turn number 1 as he seems to get the momentum there. No, he's going to go low. Tate's going to take the top away. He knows that's where he gets the run, and Tate's going to try and use that run to try and keep this lead. He knows that's where Scott's been getting the runs on him. He's
With that,
down here.
And that top side's going to work out for Chris Tate, but that allows the 99 and the 98 to close in as they start to run up on some lap traffic. Top 4, put them under a blanket. Tate, Scott, No, and Roberge with Christopher King. He's coming in a hurry as well. Oh my goodness, high drama going to be happening here, and we still got 25 laps to go here, Logan. They're already getting racy.
But these guys have to take advantage of the speed they have on fresh tires. That's why we see them be so racy. You're not going to be able to do this late in the run. Throw a blanket over the top 4. They are all there. Chris Scott looks to the inside in 3 and 4.
Scott trying to make that inside line work, but Tate is just so good on corner exit on the higher line, the middle groove. So that's why he's able to maintain this lead right now. All of this is going to allow Christopher King to throw his name in the hat there. Man, Tate slammed the door on Scott going through 1 and 2.
Yeah, he really sent it in there, and that's going to open up the door for the 99 of Chris No to try and make a move on the 4. But Chris Tate's driving this thing perfect. He watched how the 4 caught him. He saw he was running that middle groove to get the runs off the corner, and now he moves up every time the 4 gets to his back bumper. So I think he's figured out where he's quickest, and he's going to have to force Chris Scott to use the bottom of the racetrack to get around that 25.
Top 5 all within half a second of each other. Chris Jonathan Leach, he's looming back there as well. He's starting to lose these guys a little bit with a little help from lap traffic, or if he could pick up the 97 of Chris Bass, he could get up there and battle as well. Oh my goodness, we're going to have quite a battle here. I really hope we don't see a yellow. I'm loving the race we're seeing.
Yeah, that gap has opened up a little bit there between Tate and Scott, but there is lap traffic up here that might dirty up the grill of that 25 and close that battle back up. And the 4 could just be backing off just to kind of save what little tires he's got left to make another run at him here.
The top 3 are on 15-lap run tires, as are Christopher King, Chris Jonathan Leach, and Chris Bass, along with Chris Jones. Chris Roberge has 1 lap newer tires. Don't know how much of a difference that makes, but, you know, it can, and that's why he's able to keep up here with these guys as well. The man who runs 3rd in points, he's a win tonight and pushing Tate further back in the running order. That could get him very close to the points lead. You look, Erish is 11 points back, so Tate more than likely will maintain the points lead leaving tonight. But my goodness, he could have a lot of company if he doesn't hold off the win tonight.
Yeah, he's maintaining a good gap right now. In fact, I think he might be pulling out a little bit there. He's stretched it out to nearly half a second over Chris Scott. So he's found some speed. He's able to slow that charge from the 4. And I think he's just going to continue to open up this gap. It's now 0.4 at the line this time and continuing to grow.
As they navigate lap traffic, 20 laps to go on the board here at Vegas. As he picks up a little bit of the draft to the 17, he'll dive to the inside, does Christopher Tate. And he is now opening up that gap even more. Could it be the case that he had the better car, he just didn't want to quite show it to the rest of the pack?
Well, I think what happened is he saw the lead he got jumped out to with that whole deal with the 97 kind of making things squirrely a little bit and backed off his pace, Carlos, and saved his tires a little bit. He knew that Chris Scott in the 4 would burn his tires up trying to catch him, and now that he's caught him, he's able to kind of stand back on the gas a little bit and use up the tires that he saved at the beginning of that run.
The gap now opens to about 0.7 of a second and steadily growing. Christopher Tate really turning up the heat now as the lap times are really starting to pick up. It looks like Chris Scott, Chris No, and Christopher King may have used up all they had on this run. So what their saving grace is going to have to be another caution for them to maybe come down, get service. And right now, that gap's going to grow for Christopher Tate because Chris Tim No peeked to the inside on the back straightaway, but he falls back in line in 3rd.
Yeah, this battle is exactly what Tate wants to see in the mirror. It's just going to do nothing but slow these two guys down. And the caution is the last thing that the 25 wants to see right now because he's got such a comfortable lead and he knows it's continuing to grow. But you're right, the rest of these guys, they know what kind of short run speed they have, so they would love one more caution and get a crack at that 25.
Battling continuing for the 2nd position, Chris Scott still trying to hold off the 99 of Chris No, and I don't know if Chris No's got a quicker car as he is around for the 2nd position. Now he can try to get away from Scott a little bit and maybe set his sights on Chris Tate.
Yeah, we'll see what kind of speed that 99 machine has got because we haven't really seen him running up this far at the front, so we don't know if he's got the tires on him to try and catch that 25. We'll see here, though. He could have been saving his stuff. We'll pay attention and see if that gap shrinks up a little bit.
They're all about on the same fuel run and tire run, so it's just a matter of who has the amount of fall off. The gap right now is about 1.3 seconds as he's starting to gap himself a little further away from Chris M. Scott. You got to go a second back till you get to the 781 of Christopher King, and then about another second as Chris Bass has been able to get around Chris Roberge. It looks like Roberge's tires are really falling off as he's about 0.4 slower than the 5 leaders.
Yeah, a couple of these guys really burned their stuff up. They got a little bit antsy on that restart, trying to make up some time. Chris Jones is falling back to 8th after restarting 2nd, I believe it was, 3rd. And the 42, Christopher Williams, really got the short end of the stick on that restart. He's fallen back to 10th, restarted 1st on that last restart.
Now, mind you, Christopher Williams, he pit about 4 laps before these leaders did, so that's why he may have fallen off a bit more, and that's why he'll continue to fall off from the leaders. The gap is steadily dropping from Christopher Tate to Chris No. It's about it was 1.1 a moment ago. Now it's opening up again as Tate was able to get around the lap car of Christopher Reese, who brought out our last caution. He's, I don't know, nose in clean air. Sort of.
He did close the gap a little bit that time. It was 1.3 last time by. This time by, it was 1.2. So that gap is closing bit by bit, each lap by lap here. So we'll see if he closes it again here, but he's got good, consistent pace in that 99.
Here at the line, we'll look at the telemetry here. Christopher Tate at the line at 31.33. Chris No at 31.39. So Tate the faster car there on that lap as Tate was able to finally get around that 62. The 62 hanging up there with him, so he's getting a little extra push. You got to go a little further up till he gets into more lap traffic, as now the gap is starting to grow again for Christopher Tate. When he comes around to the line, it'll be 11 laps to go. This race starting to dwindle down, and these guys, I'm telling you, Logan, they're really praying and hoping for a caution, any of these guys that are still on the lead lap.
Yeah, a lot of these guys are, as you said, but as long as this gap continues to shrink, actually, that time it grew and then for the 99. So, yeah, everybody except 25 is praying to see that flagman wave that yellow flag, and so they can get one more crack at him here, because I'll be honest with you, Carlos, I'm not sure that the short run speed is there for Chris Tate. He's just been so fortunate that everybody else gets together behind him on these restarts that he's able to pull out to a gap and kind of preserve his tires so he can use them late in the run. I'm not so sure that the short run speed is there in that 25.
Yeah, I don't think it's there either. It was just a miracle he was able to maintain the lead, keep it from Chris M. Scott. And that's the reason why he's been able to pull out and gap away. That long run speed has been very good for him. When he comes around, it'll be 9 laps to go. I was looking at the track map there while you were chatting it up there. There's not many cars that are around each other. You got to go a little further back, the 27 and others trying to get around some people. Chris Hubka's battling the 81 of Chris Stamper right now. So you got to think those guys, that would only be reason why we'd be under caution. But I don't know. It's just everyone's so spread out. The likelihood of a caution happening before we see the checkered flag is starting to become less likely.
Well, we're inside 10 to go here, and the gap did close a little bit again for that between that 99 and the 25. But I think at this point in the race, it's just a little too large of a gap to really be closed in that amount of time. And I think Tate knows this starting to back off a little bit. He actually stretched it out, opened it up to one. Caution on the racetrack, Carlos.
Oh my goodness, not what the 25 wanted to see. Got a car sideways there on the back straightaway. Not sure who it is. It looks like to be the 2. Nope, it's not the 2. It's the 88 of Chris Otto. Oh my goodness.
Well, this is going to be wild.
On the back straightaway. Otto and Noblet collided there on the back straightaway as Otto was hit.
That, I'm not too sure about. Oh, yeah, I see the contact you're referring to there. But I'm not too sure about this contact between the 88 and the 12. We'll let you get a second look at it there. But if those two had a little coming together earlier in the race, I think we might have seen a little bit of payback here.
It is the 88 and 12 as to why we're under the caution. Well, you'll see it here as they come here through turns 1 and 2. The 88 definitely a lot slower than the 12 right now as they were coming up through the corner here. 88 backs off a little bit, 12 hanging there with them. Oh my goodness.
I'm trying to recall from memory if maybe those two got together earlier in the race. I don't recall any particular incident, but it certainly looks like that there wasn't a lot of give and take there between the 12 and the 88, and they weren't battling for position either there, Carlos. So I got to think that maybe that was a little bit of the red mist to send it over the 12 of Chris Faddis.
And then, boom, the 17 of Chris Noblet just gets into the 88 there. That's effectively blowing up both of their engines and effectively ending their night. Their nights were well over. They were way in double-digit lap country. So, but that was the reason why we're under our 4th caution of the night at Las Vegas.
Leaders on pit road. Leaders on pit road, Carlos. Every lead lap car hit pit road for this restart.
You see it right here. Chris M. Scott, the first car in pit road. Roberts is already out and away. You got to think he may have gambled there a little bit on the tires as Tate is out and away. The first car off pit road. Rolling off 3rd is Chris No. It looked like the 48 beat the 4 off the pit road. We're going to have an interesting top 5 here when we go back green.
Yeah, look, I'm going to go back and look at the 98. I think he might have done a 2-tire stop here because, as you said, he came in pretty deep in the field. He was running, I believe, around 10th at the moment of caution. It was indeed a 2-tire stop for that 98, so we're going to see how that plays out for him on this restart. I mean, we've seen how slippery these cars are on new tires, Carlos. I would not want to take a gamble with 2 right-side tires and leaving the old left-side tires on there, but you know, we saw strategy come into a huge factor last week, and we could see it again.
Speaking of strategy, Christopher Tate is not the leader. It is the 5 of Chris Hubka, who's on 41-lap-old tires and fuel dwindling, but he gambles here and chooses not to pit, and he's going to be the race leader when we bring it back around. That could spell a lot of trouble, especially if he spins the tires on the restart.
It's just, I hate to be a doubter here, Carlos, but there's just absolutely no way that is going to work for the 5. It's just the difference between fresh and old tires is just so immense here. We saw the fall off on the long green flag run. We just ran 41 laps there, as you said, on that last green flag run. There's no way I see this working, and honestly, I think we could be looking at yet another caution after this because of the tire difference between these cars. I just don't see it working.
Wow, it's just high drama happening here at the end of Vegas. You expect nothing less at a track like this. We're in a town that's all about gambling, and at a track like this, you gamble a lot. You mentioned it earlier, Logan. It's going to be a very exciting run to the finish. Pace car lights are still not off, so I'm expecting the one to go this time by. I believe Chris Stamper is going to be the lucky dog, and he will get back on the lead lap, giving us 13 cars on the lead lap. Chris Newman fell back down another lap. He'll be the only car one lap down. But Christopher Tate should become the leader here on this restart, depending on what Hubka does. If I'm anyone on that inside line, I'm going to be very, very upset with the 5 of Chris Hubka with how, unless he just gets a miracle of a restart here. Chris No is going to line up 4th, Chris Jonathan Leach 5th, Chris M. Scott 6th, Chris Bass 7th, Christopher King 8th, Chris Jones 9th, Christopher Ritchie rounds out the top 10 with Christopher Williams and Cody Jenkins and Chris Stamper rounding out the cars on the lead lap. Oh boy, Logan, this is about to get really exciting.
Yeah, this is, and once again, we talked about how the 25 was most fortunate on these restarts, and I think he's about to become the most fortunate again because he's on the outside, unless the 5 spins the tires, which is very likely here on those old tires. But buckle up in your seats. This is going to be a very wild restart coming down here into turn number 1.
We've been longing for action all night long whenever we were in that long green flag run where it looked like Christopher Tate was well in control of this thing and he was en route to a victory. This caution has really put a wrench into that strategy for him. He's going to have to hold off a hungry group of cars behind him as everybody clear back to 12th, pit on that under this caution. And with 3 laps to go, Chris Hubka rolls the dice and is going to try all he can to keep it up there. Don't know if he can. You know, stranger things have happened here at Las Vegas in real life and in iRacing. It's going to be exciting. Chris Hubka is going to be on the gas. 3 laps to go to finish up the Chriszoil 200. And we're waiting for the green to drop there in the restart zone. Not a good jump for Hubka as the 98 is going to be all over the back bumper as Tate actually beats him to the line.
Big push from the 99, got the 25. Look at the 4 on the top. 3 wide going in the turn number 1. I don't know if it's going to work.
That's going to be really good for Christopher Tate, but you got to remember the short run speed is not there for the 25. As they come down the backstretch, 3 wide, still trying to get around the slower Hubka machine, as Tate is clear into the lead, but he's got a host of company behind him. When they come to the line, it'll be 2 laps to go. Oh boy, wow, the 99 really took the nose off the 97. Here comes Chris Bass. We haven't seen him in quite a bit. He's going to be up in a second. I think they may be wrecking back there, though. No, the 77s or 81s around were under yellow.
What a restart from the 97 of Chris Bass. And we've seen it every single restart that we've commentated together here, Carlos. The 97 is by far and away the most aggressive driver on these restarts, and it paid off for him here. What a restart for that 97 machine.
Oh my goodness, right when Bass was starting to climb up to the 25, we got under the 781 and the 5 further back. I've switched back to them whenever they were getting all squirrely. We'll go back and see what happened. I believe it was the 781. Why we're under our 5th caution of the night, but my goodness, what a restart.
Whoa. The 48 went for a heck of a ride there, Carlos, into turn number 1. We missed it because we were so focused on the battle for the lead, but side over side, end over end went the 48.
You'll see it here in the replay. What happened is they're coming down the front straightaway here. The 5 and the 35. There's the 781 who makes a bold move to the inside. They're 4 wide at Las Vegas. And then the 5 just couldn't get in. There you go. There goes the up and over, side, as you said, end over end. It's wow, the 27 drove right under the flipping 48. Oh my goodness.
The good thing is with iRacing, Carlos, is we don't worry for a second about the driver's physical condition. We know he's okay. That's how we're able to laugh and smile about a wreck such as miraculous as this. What a ride for that 48. As you said, the 5 just squeezed him right up into the fence, and the way the car angled in there, it just flipped it right over, and my goodness, what a ride.
These guys continue to pace it around. You're on board with the 27 of Christopher Salma. You see the 48 there flipping. Hello! Drives right under the 48 there to avoid the accident. The 781, he was another car involved. You saw him in the back of your screen there. He was spinning around and such. And I just realized I didn't even put that on the live race. Oh well. That's the thing though. You saw it there, the 27 going under him. My goodness, just a lot of action happening, and we're in for a lot more, Logan, as we're under our first overtime period.
Oh, this is far from over here, Carlos. We've got 2 attempts at this. This will be our first attempt. That last time we went green was a natural chance at a green-white checkered. We went green with 3 laps to go. They were just a few feet shy of taking the... Actually, they were on the 2 to-go lap, so next time by would have been the white flag lap, the penultimate lap for the 25. And his day is far from over here because he's going to have his hands full with both the 97 and the 99, who we've seen both of these guys be fantastic on the restarts.
They come down here to the line. I believe the pace car lights will go out. Nope, we're going to go around another time. Oh my goodness, trying to catch my breath here. We also have to consider this too. I'm looking at the race clock here. We got about 2 minutes 7 seconds. So these guys cannot. I think we'd have time for another overtime period. Our last one at Daytona, we weren't able to make it back. Auto Club, we didn't even have that as a factor. This could be a potentiality again of finishing under the yellow. That could be a saving grace, on the other hand, for Christopher Tate. But of course, I'm sure everyone here watching on Facebook and YouTube, you would love to see an incredible finish to this one and not have it finish under caution. But with how these guys have been racing tonight, anything can happen. I want to call a couple of guys 6th and 7th right now. Christopher Ritchie, he was working the fuel strategy earlier. He's up in 6th. And Cody Jenkins, who has spent most of his time tonight off the lead lap, got the lucky dog and a wave around when he was 2 laps down. He's up to 7th. He could be looking at a top 10 finish tonight.
Yeah, a fantastic drive there for him. Really what he needed. The cautions kind of fell his way, as you said, as they did for so many drivers to get themselves back up in contention for a decent finish. Only 13 cars on the lead lap, so a solid points day for anybody who's able to stay on the lead lap. And it's just been fantastic drives for a lot of these guys here. Pace car should have the lights turned out this time, and we should go green here with 2 laps to go. Want to refer real quick again to the timer on the clock. We are at 27 minutes to go, Carlos. I think that should be enough time to get both attempts in.
Oh, no, we'll be okay if that's the case. But, oh my goodness, here's your top 10 as they run. Christopher Tate will run off first, Chris Bass second, Chris Timno third, Chris M. Scott fourth, Chris Roberge fifth. 6th is Christopher Ritchie, 7th Chris Jody Jenkins, as mentioned, Christopher Williams 8th, Chris Jones 9th, and Christopher King, who was damaged under that last caution, he is 10th. Rest of the cars on the lead lap is Chris Hubka, Chris Stamper, and Chris Newman was able to get back on the lead lap there using the lucky dog. Chris Jonathan Leach, he's 1 lap down. He's going to more than likely finish out of the race after taking that big tumble in turns 1 and 2. And it's a tough break for him. He was up inside the top 5 at one point tonight, so not the night he wanted. Definitely can rebound when he's at Dover on Wednesday night. But here we go. Strap in, folks. If you've been with us since the start, you're in for a lot more action. This is our first overtime period, overtime attempt number 1. This is going to be very exciting. Christopher Tate and Chris Bass, the guy who Bass restarted 6th on the last restart and just had a heck of a run, that got him into the 2nd position. He's got a host of company around him. This is going to be very interesting how this goes out. Pace car rolls in. 2 laps to finish the Chriszoil 200. Christopher Tate on the gas. Really good restart for him. That could spell trouble, though, if he got too far out ahead for the rest of the pack to catch him.
Well, he knows how quick the 97 and the 99 are on these restarts, so he didn't want to give them a chance. He jumped it right as the pace car pulled in. It's a big gap, but here come the 99 and the 97 with a run down the back straightaway.
No caution yet. The 99 and the 97, they better stay locked together for the time being if they want to even battle the 25 for it. Here they come to the white flag. Next flag ends the race. 99 with a big run coming down the front stretch as they're catching up to the 25 with the white flag on the board.
He's got to block that bottom. Here he comes. 99 looking to the inside. He's going to have to make him go around the top.
He's going to have one more chance down in turns 3 and 4 to get to him. The 97 there in 3rd, Chris M. Scott 4th. Here comes the 99 trying to get there. 25 slamming the door, giving him no room. 99 peeks to the outside, but it's going to be too little too late, maybe, as he looks low. But Christopher Tate outlasts them all and wins tonight in the Vegas.
My good, what a finish. What a finish and what a drive from the 25, Christopher Tate. And had to hold off a hard charging 99 and Chris No. And just a fantastic finish to this afternoon's race. My goodness.
He goes back-to-back here to open this season, opening a win at Auto Club. Had a decent run at Daytona, and now will continue to extend his points lead with the win tonight here at Vegas. And a big congratulations to that 25 man. He earned that win tonight as he now burns it down here in the grass here at Vegas.
Oh, for sure. Easily the most laps led, and he's going to do his burnouts all the way into pit road in front of his competitors there. But hard-fought victory because we knew Carlos. He didn't have the greatest car on that short run with the short run speed, so it was really the odds were stacked against him with how many guys were so fast on the short runs on those restarts. But he hugged that white line all the way around the track and forced the 99 to do all the work in the world to try to get by him, and it paid off in a big way for Chris here going back to back.
Chris Timno gave it all he could. It's just he had no line to go with or any run to work with. He ends up second tonight, who has probably one of the bigger bounce back nights. He ends up third. Chris M. Scott fourth, and Chris Roberge fifth. So that's gonna move. Roberge up into second place in the point standings. So that's a good one for him. The rest of the top 10 was Christopher Ritchie, Chris Cody Jenkins, Chris Jones, Christopher King, and Christopher Williams, as Christopher Tate continues to celebrate here on the front straightaway. You'll get to hear from him and Chris Timno and Chris Bass, hopefully, here tonight for some driver interviews here on Flatout Racing Network as Christopher Tate continues to burn it down. We'll be right back here on Flatout Racing Network, and you'll get to hear from your race winner and the rest of the top three. We'll be right back on FRN. Back here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, Christopher Tate, your winner tonight here in the Chris Cup Series, the Chriszoil 200 at Las Vegas. You'll get to hear from him in a moment, but I want to bring in Chris Timno. Chris Timno, second place finish for you tonight. Man, you gave it all you could there at the end. How was it there on that last restart?
Yeah, that was a pretty good run for me. That last restart was wild. I knew I had to stick to the 25. He was the best car all race. So I just did what I had to do there to kind of push him there into turn one and follow him best I could.
Logan?
Yeah, Chris, you saw the 20 on that last restart. You saw the 25 got off to a great jump, and part of that we think is maybe due to the lack of short run speed that the 25 had. Did you think that maybe you and the 97 were a little bit quicker than Tate was over the course of a short run versus a long run there?
I don't know. I think my best shot was over the long run. 25 was pretty good on a short run, in my opinion. I know that I had a little bit for him there at the end. I didn't want to rough him up. I'm not trying to dump people going into 3 here on the last lap, but it was a good finish. I think the right car won.
Very humble of you to just say that. Not a lot of drivers are even willing to say that, but yeah, you have a bouncing around inside the top 5 for a while, and then you're able to bring it up in to second place. I'm not quite sure how this is going to be for a points day for you. You weren't in the top 20, but as you didn't take the green flag at Daytona, but for you had a solid run at Auto Club, and then to back it up with second place tonight. How does this look for you going into Dover on Wednesday?
Well, I told them last week in the group that the '99 Ford Mustang was going to be there at the end, and I don't know how believable that was when I said it, but it should be a little more believable now.
Absolutely, Logan. You got anything for him?
Yes. So going into Dover next week, what kind of track is that for you there, Chris? Is it something that you kind of circle on the calendar as one you look forward to, or maybe one that you're going to kind of just you play it by ear, let the race come to you, and take whatever kind of finish you can get?
Me and Dover have a love-hate relationship, so we'll be putting some practice laps down this week. That's for sure.
Alrighty, before we let you go, Chris, is there anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, for sure. I Team 606 Racing fellas, Greg, Chris, Clint. I'm not even on my rig tonight. My cousin let me use his setup, so I appreciate that. And just really Chris Jones putting this on. This is a good time. Thank you, everybody.
Alrighty, that is what we'll hear from Chris Timno. Chris Timno, an excellent run for you tonight, second place. Hopefully you can back that up with another good run at Dover on Wednesday.
Hey, we'll do the best I can. Thank you, boys.
No problem. Chris Bass was able to pop in too here, so we'll get to hear from him too. Chris Bass, my goodness, what an excellent run for you tonight. On that second to last restart, you were 6th, and then right before that caution, you had one of the best runs I've seen tonight to be able to climb up into 2nd. You end up 3rd tonight. How was it for you tonight?
It was a wild one. That's for sure. A lot of tough cars out there. My spotter was spot on tonight. I can't thank him enough. A good friend of mine, Brandon Wiggins. I can't thank him enough. He cleared me outside, and as soon as I got the run, I just matted it, and to the front we went.
So, Chris, we saw you from the drop of the green flag on lap 1 all the way to the end of this thing. As Carlos touched on, you were just lightning fast on these restarts, making moves 3 wide on the middle, 3 wide on the bottom. Was track position, did you think, that important throughout the longer runs where you needed to be that aggressive on the restarts, or is that just something the way the cars are all bunched up, you just want to get as many spots as you can?
You definitely need to get as many spots on the restart as you can. Once they get strung out and the air starts affecting the handling of these race cars, it just basically sticks you in one spot, and that's basically all you got. And you can burn your stuff up trying to catch up, or you just hope they come back to you. But air is everything, track position's everything, and it's just my philosophy. You got to get all you can on the restarts as safely as you can.
Now, I want to know what was going through your mind on that second to last restart, or even on the last restart. Did you feel like you had anything for the 25, or was 25 just that good?
I really did. The second to last restart when I got the big run and went from 6th, wherever it was, to 2nd. I really thought I could get to his back bumper, and I wasn't going to actually wreck him. I wasn't going to hit him. I just thought that if I had the good run through 3 and 4 that I was having before the yellow come out, it would have been a drag race into 1, and I think I had something for him. It just didn't work out, man. Congrats to him and the 99. Those guys were great tonight. The 4. So yeah, it was a great night for everybody. I hope it was exciting to watch.
Oh no, it was very, very exciting to watch. Well, Logan, you got anything else for him?
Speaking of exciting, we saw you had a couple big moments down in 3 and 4. One of them all the way back at the beginning of the race, getting a little bit of a tap from the 4, I believe it was, got you sideways, but you recovered nicely and opened up the gap to nearly a 2nd there at the start. And then it happened again on it was maybe 3 restarts before the end of that thing where you made a move at the bottom, got really loose. You certainly had your hands full tonight on some of these restarts.
Yeah, it was a handful at times. You just have to put it where it doesn't want to go sometimes. So I do want to give a shout out to Red Eye Designs, Thorlo Socks, and my spotter Brandon Wiggins. That was a wild night, and I'm glad everybody had a good time.
We had a great time just watching you guys out there tonight. An excellent run. Third place tonight for Chris Bass. He will hopefully see you at Dover and Pocono the next 2 races coming up.
Yes, sir. We'll be there.
Alrighty, now you'll get to hear from the man of the hour, Christopher Tate. My goodness, what an absolute, just superb run for you tonight. From wire to wire, you were the car to beat, absolutely. Even at the end, with all those guys hounding around you there at the end, you were able to hold them all off. How do you feel?
Feel pretty good. I didn't really like those last late cautions. And with how the draft works, I was really worried I was going to get beat to the line, but I'm really happy with the race tonight.
Chris, we saw you restarted up at the front for quite a few of these restarts this afternoon, but it seemed like each time there was always some sort of trouble behind you that allowed you to kind of open up the gap to about a second. So were you really confident with the short run speed you had, or was it just something as simple as the draft just being so strong that made it look like you were a little slower on the short run speed versus long run speed?
I think the draft played more of a factor than you could really see. Because, I knew whenever, I think it was the caution before the last one, whenever we were 3 wide going in 3, and I had the second lead, I started letting up because I knew I wasn't going to be able to pull away. So I let up and let them just kind of catch back up so I could save my stuff and just kind of manage my tires and manage the draft at the same time.
Now, I don't know what could have been going through your mind there at 3 and 4 whenever Chris No was starting to really reel up to your back bumper. We talked about it there at the end. You took that inside line away, and that ended up being the difference. Was that the difference in your eyes that kept for you to hold off the 99?
I believe so. With how the tires were new and stuff, if I was to go high, he would have just swung right around me on the inside. And I was really worried whenever he was pushing me coming out of 4. I was worried he was going to hook me wrong and spin me out. But thankfully it didn't. He ran a good race.
So you capitalized on the weekend going back to back, and you've got Dover coming up next week. What kind of a track is that for you? Is it one you've got circled on the calendar and you're looking forward to, or is it maybe one that you kind of back off and play it lap by lap?
Definitely lap by lap. I'm not really too fond of that track, but I'll do the best I can. I'm just glad we got a win before we go to Dover and Pocono.
Alrighty, before we let you go this evening, is there anybody you want to shout out?
Yeah, I want to shout out you guys. You guys are putting on great streams for this league. I want to shout out Chris Jones for putting this whole league on, and it's been a really fun couple of races. So,
alrighty, thank you very, very much, Christopher Tate, your winner tonight here in the Chriszoil. Hopefully, you can keep that run going at Dover and Pocono. We'll see what happens. Good run tonight, bud.
I sure hope so. Thank you.
Alrighty, Logan, my goodness, what an absolute race tonight. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I don't think I got to rest my voice here for the remainder of the weekend. I've got nothing left after calling that one. That was just exciting from start to finish. We hit a little bit of a lull there with that long green flag run and let a little bit of strategy play out. But once that caution flew to end it, it was nothing but excitement from there to the finish. So fantastic race. We knew it would be because Auto Club was such a good race, and it's going to be even wilder next week at Dover. That's they don't call it the Monster Mile for nothing. Concrete Canyon, it eats cars up and spits them back out. So it's going to be a fantastic race next weekend.
That race coming up for the Chris Cup Series, we won't be covering it, unfortunately, at Dover. Next time, the Chris Cup Series will be on the Flatout Racing Network. It will be next Saturday at Pocono for race number 5 on the season. The next broadcast for the Flatout Racing Network is tomorrow. The Speed 51 Elite Days Gone By Truck Series is at the dirt track of Eldora. Man, that's going to be a lot of fun. You can catch me and Bronson Stafford on the call for that one. Coming up later tonight over on the STN YouTube channel, the FTF Grand National Series presented by Splash and Go Graphics. They're at Dover tonight for race number 12 of 31. Expecting a lot of action in that one. It's going to be a lot of fun for them, and we hope you enjoy that over there with those guys over at STN. Logan, I want to thank you for jumping on tonight. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Always a pleasure to be up here and looking forward to Pocono.
And yeah, to reiterate, that is when you'll see the Chris Cup Series again next Saturday from Pocono Raceway in Long Pond, Pennsylvania. For Logan Brakey and all of us here at the Flatout Racing Network, my name is Carlos Zimmerman. Thank you so much for watching tonight on Facebook page. Be sure to give us a like on there and subscribe to the Flatout Racing Network on YouTube. We'll see you next week for Pocono here in the Chris Cup Series. Good night and have a pleasant tomorrow, and please stay safe. Good night from Las Vegas.